Hey guys, Metal here. Today I wanted to do a review or a beta impressions of the Battlefield 1 beta. So there's been quite a few tweaks to the Battlefield game that I like. Probably the biggest thing that I like, the thing that immediately stood out to me, was the tweaks to bullet velocity and drop. Rifle caliber weapons, the bullets fly a lot faster and drop a lot less. They probably don't really start to drop noticeably until past like 400 meters, which is about right. And overall, I think that by itself is a great tweak to the game. It felt like you were shooting weighted bullets in older Battlefield games. They'd start to drop even in like 100, 200 meters a lot of the times, and that was just a little bit obnoxious, I felt like. The vehicle spawning system has been changed, so when you, instead of having, say, 2 APCs and 2 tanks on a team, like in Battlefield 4, you have 4 armored vehicle slots, and they can be whatever armored vehicle you like: artillery trucks, light tanks, heavy tanks. So you can set that up however you want, and then each tank has different variants with different amounts of seats and weapons and all that sort of thing. Same thing for air vehicles. You have a certain number of air vehicles. You have fighters, which are good for taking out other air vehicles. You have attack planes, which are balanced, and then you have bombers, which are good at bombing, obviously. I think that is a really good change. It allows the vehicles, it allows the player to pick exactly what kind of vehicle they want. It also allows your team to adapt and counter to what the other team has. Like if they have a lot of bombers up, then you can get a lot of fighters up to take out their bombers or something like that. Now, this last tweak that I want to mention is probably this is not the most immediate thing that I noticed, but this is by far my favorite change, and it's the new melee system. The melee weapons feel strong. There's no more counter knifing, so when you grab your enemy and you're about to shove your shovel into his face or axe him or stab him or whatever, there's no way he's gonna turn around on you. So now you front knife like you used to in, say, BF3. I think it does somewhere between like 30 and 50 damage. And once you front knife someone once or twice, you trigger an animation, which is you grabbing them and finishing them off. Sometimes you won't do an animation. Sometimes you'll just knife them if you're in like a weird, awkward position. Like you'll just kind of swipe them. And then if you're sprinting and you have a weapon with a bayonet, you could press the melee weapon to start the bayonet charge. And then if you run into someone, they're done. They're dead instantly. Of course, if you get shot during the bayonet charge, you're screwed. And if you sometimes it's a little bit glitchy, like the bayonet charge animation will start and I'll get hit with a bullet, like I'll get ripped out of the animation. I even had one event happen to me where I got clubbed in the face right before I arrived at bayoneting someone, so things like that might need to be looked at. Overall, though, I probably get as many kills with my melee weapons as I do with my gun, and I love it. It's such it feels very World War I, that there's a lot of melee fights going on. It feels, in bayonet fights. So I'm glad that was added in. Now I want to talk about class balance a bit. So there's been a lot of tweaks made to the classes. The assault class is now a lot like the engineer of old. So you've got the SMGs now, and you've got the anti-tank weapons. Of course, the repairability has been added to the tanker class, or the engineer class, I guess. I'm not really sure if there's a name for it, and that's the class that you get when you actually spawn into a tank. That's the only way to repair things. Of course, you're a terrible infantryman at that point. You don't have the same weapons, you don't have the same equipment, so it's just not really a very good position to be in. The scout, or the new recon class, a lot of people are saying they're overpowered, and I'm very hesitant to say that with this beta, because we do have a very open map. There's not a lot of cover besides the city around C and D, and there is, obviously, since the bullet velocity has been increased, it's a lot easier to snipe now. However, there are a lot of counters to snipers. Not a whole lot of people seem to play support with the LMGs, but they will destroy snipers. My most used weapon is the MG15 Suppressive. That is a belt-fed LMG with 200 round belts and a scope. Now, if a sniper starts engaging me when I have that weapon, he's toast. I'm going to suppress him until he can't shoot me, and then I'm going to finish him off. And then a lot of the scoped medic rifles are also great at taking out snipers. I think a lot of people they found the starting weapons to be a bit lackluster, and then they immediately just got used to using that sniper rifle that you start with, and they decided that was going to be the best weapon and that it's overpowered or whatever. But really, they just need to unlock some more gear for their other classes, and they need to find something they like. The support weapons seem to have a bit of a learning curve. So kind of like what I just said, they actually have a negative spread. So the more you fire with the support weapons, the more accurate you become, which has thrown a lot of people off, I think. A lot of people are used to tap or burst firing, with their LMGs, and what you want to do in this game is you want to spray. Of course, after about, it was 35 rounds with the MG15. I don't know if that's the same for every LMG in the game. It does jam, so you basically need to kill someone. There's about 20 rounds in there where you're going to be really accurate to kill someone, which I think is very doable. And of course, it only takes about a second to clear the jam and get right back to firing, so you can always do that. Now, I do think the support class has a big learning curve, but I think that this support class does have basically the most effective anti-infantry weapons in the game with the LMGs. Now, I want to get into one of my biggest bugbears with the game, and that is that tanks completely dominate gameplay, especially in Rush, which I generally prefer Rush, but you're going to notice that most of this gameplay is Conquest, because I think there's 4 tanks in Rush. There's either 3 or 4 at any given time, and there is 24 people in Rush. So 24 people with 4 total tanks between both teams. So that is obnoxious, and the tanks have also gotten a lot of buffs. They're a lot more damaging, and they seem to have a lot more health, and then infantry have far less powerful ways to deal with them now. You have only the assault class seems to have an effective way of dealing with tanks with their heavy anti-tank grenades and their anti-tank rifle. But even then, one assault class can't take out a tank alone. You basically have to dump literally all of your gear onto the tank before it just snipes you with its canister sniper shell. So I really think that tanks need to be looked at. Of course, there might be a lot of anti-tank gadgets hidden away by the beta, so I could be totally wrong on this, but right now they're completely dominating gameplay. Probably about half of my deaths are to tanks. Regularly I see people dropping 50 and 0 from being in a tank all game, so that needs to be looked at. Now the map, Sinai Desert, is very open, and I think that has lended to a lot of the sniper and tank dominated gameplay. So again, I'm hesitant to really call anything overpowered for sure, but it's definitely very dominating in the gameplay right now. I don't know if that's just, again, because of this map or because of the gear that's locked in the beta, but it's a problem. And if the full game is like that, then it definitely needs to be looked at. Especially in Rush. They are especially dominating in Rush. Overall, I really think that's all I wanted to say about Battlefield 1. I think that's my basic impressions. I think that if you are looking for a World War I experience, this is not it. This does not feel like World War I. This does not, it's just not accurate enough to really bring up feelings of World War I to me. It definitely feels like a battle game, and it's definitely a battlefield game, and it's definitely a fun game. Don't get me wrong, but it seems like the only thing that they're committed to getting right in this game about the historical accuracy is the phonetic alphabet. A lot of these weapons were experimental. A lot of these weapons never saw action in World War I. Obviously, pretty much everyone would have a bolt-action rifle. So, I mean, you can say that wouldn't make for good gameplay or whatever. I don't really want to make that argument right now. It's definitely not very reminiscent of World War I to me. Honestly, it just feels like a little bit more polished on BF4. If I wasn't a YouTuber, I probably wouldn't pick this game up. It's a little bit better than BF4, but not by much. Like, it's like a 5% or 10% better game. I think if you're looking for something that's really different or unique, I think Titanfall 2 is going to be better at that. But if you're looking for the more gritty combat, the combined arms of vehicles and infantry, if you're just looking for a more Battlefield experience, then, obviously Battlefield 1 can do a better job at that than Titanfall. And I think that if I was a more casual Battlefield player, or if I was a YouTuber, I probably wouldn't have picked up this game, frankly. But I probably am going to pick it up because I want to continue to make content for it, which I hope you guys continue to watch. Now, besides that, I hope you enjoyed. Check out the description below for a link to my Twitch for my live streams, a link to my official Discord if you want to chat with me or other fans. My Facebook and Twitter are the same username. You'll see that in the link in the description below. And also my Patreon is there. If you really enjoy my content, I'd appreciate your support there. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you want to see more of my gameplay tips and commentaries in the future. Have a great one and stick around for the bonus clip here. What the? Alright.